Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me for this new edition of Business Africa. Today in our show, we'll cover the challenges of COP29 for African negotiators and the opportunities brought by AI. But first, let's get on with the show with our top stories today. Hope for a technological leap, how AI triggers public attention in Africa.
Artificial intelligence is a set of processes and mathematical methods that allow machines to learn from data to reproduce behaviors that we, as humans, consider to be intelligent behaviors.
Clean cooking in Africa, a goal that is no longer a dream in Tanzania, where a strategy is in place to gradually eliminate charcoal.
But it is that within 10 years, every single dwelling that you see in Tanzania will be equipped with at least one gas cylinder.
A rising sector in Togo, organic pineapple has carved out a place of choice in the country's agricultural development and has become one of the star products for European importers.
We're lucky in Togo to have varieties such as Sugarloaf and Cayenne, which are quite well known and which have a better taste than the MD2 varieties offered from Costa Rica.
The African Union adopted last summer a strategy for the development of artificial intelligence on the continent. The document calls in particular for the creation of an Africa-owned AI infrastructure, the development of a regulatory framework, and the funding of research to enrich the knowledge base of Africans on AI capabilities and functionalities. It must be said that the opportunities offered by AI do not go unnoticed in Africa, where AI is seen as a tool that will allow African countries to make up for their technological gap. But it also raises concerns. How should African countries position themselves in relation to its development? Eloge Aidaso filmed this report from Benin.
We have developed artificial intelligence that enables users to take videos in any language and dub them into another language. This allows the voiceover to be transformed seamlessly into the desired language. Additionally, our application features a speech-to-speech function that allows for fluent conversations with individuals who speak different languages.
Here's one of the artificial intelligence applications that generates a great deal of interest and hope in Africa. It is indeed seen as a technology designed to offer a wide range of automated services, opportunities that entrepreneurs gathered at a recent innovation fair in Cotonou are keen to seize to solve everyday problems.
Artificial intelligence is a set of processes and mathematical methods that allow machines to learn from data to reproduce behaviors that we, as humans, consider to be intelligent behaviors. These processes enable the development of solutions that address various problems and challenges in real life.
The applications of artificial intelligence are varied. This technology can find applications in many fields. Examples include this one in the field of healthcare.
An African who does not speak French or English will find it difficult to obtain reliable health information online. Why? Because the information is available in languages that are not his or her mother tongue. Today, reducing these health and information barriers by developing models that allow access to quality, certified health information would strongly contribute, for example, to prevention and to making health more accessible. This has a direct impact on people's lives.
Progress in digital innovation is already impacting daily lives. The QR code is an example, and one of its benefits is the possibility of dematerializing documents.
The QR code allows a large amount of data to be stored in a small space. Quite simply, an identification document, for example, or a physical paper passport that you can read or open, can be contained within a QR code. Essentially, you are miniaturizing the information into a much smaller and more secure space than paper. It can open doors and enable communication, transactions, etc. When it is digitized, we store them somewhere, and we can access it at any time.
This means that the era of artificial intelligence opens a new avenue for applications that enhance daily life. However, if artificial intelligence is intended to facilitate life for its users, companies in the sector must seek technologies that address their specific problems without following trends blindly. To achieve this, African countries must quickly determine where their priorities lie.
Some are engaged into in-depth research because they have solved everyday problems. So, today we cannot compare ourselves with firms which are ahead, which have research and development budgets of several $million on much more specialized questions where an application is being developed. An idea is developed to respond to an immediate, specific need. I think that in Africa, we must be at this level too. We have daily needs to address, challenges and difficulties more pressing than, for example, those of a Westerner, a European, an American. We are not at the same level of needs and constraints.
And precisely some of these constraints are particularly restrictive.
We cannot speak of artificial intelligence and all these technologies without having access to electricity. There is also a deficit in internet access. The internet is not available everywhere. The third constraint that I see and regularly highlight is access to financing. If a young person does not have access to credit because they are not deemed reliable, they do not yet have a job, and they do not have parents with sufficient financial backing to provide a guarantee, it becomes complicated.
Many people view artificial intelligence as presenting various risks, including ethical issues like intellectual property rights concerns and the reduction of human intervention, which could lead to unemployment, among others. But does this mean we should halt progress?
Technology, in general, is an asset. It is not a danger. It is supposed to make our lives easier. Ultimately, it is the way we use it that matters.
AI, or artificial intelligence, although it raises concerns, represents one of the significant advancements in technology. It is up to African countries to address what may hinder them from fully benefiting from these technologies, but also to adapt them to their specific needs. Does Mozambique's troubled post-election period have the potential to destabilize Southern Africa? The question comes to mind since South Africa intermittently closed and reopened its Limombo border post. The situation there remains highly volatile, with queues of vehicles stretching over many kilometers. Meanwhile, activities at Mozambique's two largest ports, Maputo and Beira, have been disrupted, leading to supply difficulties in Zimbabwe. The country gets all its fuel imports through a pipeline from Beira, and it heavily relies on Mozambican ports for mineral exports and food imports. African negotiators faced extremely difficult discussions these last days during COP29. The UN climate conference held this year in Baku, Azerbaijan, saw the continent presenting demands in line with its real needs, and they are huge. The continent requests between 1.3 and 1.6 trillion US in total climate financing every year till 2030 to meet its pressing needs. Afreximbank has called for a new tool to replace the previous commitment of $100 billion that has seen insufficient disbursement, and pushed for financial mechanisms like green bonds, concessional loans, and carbon markets to fund Africa's climate projects. And African policymakers and international partners meeting at this year's conference also highlighted the urgent crisis posed by lack of access to clean cooking, a challenge impacting 1.2 billion people across Africa and leading to millions of premature deaths annually. At a spring summit in Paris, major financial commitments were put on the table to achieve clean cooking solutions, a step that Tanzania did not wait for, since its president, Samia Suluhu Hassan, has already put in place a 10-year national strategy. Our correspondent, Good Hope Omani, has been following these efforts to end charcoal and the health risks it poses. Take a look.
Over 33,000 Tanzanians die annually from respiratory-related illness caused by charcoal and firewood. Food vendors are among those who are highly affected. Investing $100 billion in LPG businesses 2015, Oryx Energies has reached 62,000 food vendors giving free LPG kits worth $1.8 million in a 10-year initiative aiming at having more people use LPG.
We have decided to make clean cooking our strategy for the next 10 years. So what is it that we do is that everywhere, every day, every time, we are promoting clean cooking through an adoption by the consumer of an LPG solution for cooking. Now, you see, we need to start somewhere. And we said, okay, let's start with the street cookers and the mamalishe, mamantilie, that we can equip with a LPG starting kit, which will be this one. Yeah? With cylinder and the trivet and the burner. And let's give that to them for free, right? So that they can test, they can use, they can get their own proof of concept.
Rajab Hassan and Fawzia Moshi have been using LPG for quite some time. They testify that it is advantageous since it cooks fast, hence reducing costs incurred when using charcoal.
Because the time used in cooking with LPG is very little compared to cooking with charcoal, using gas is very cheap and time-friendly. If we get support, we will make use of gas because it suits us and simplifies our work. Compared to electricity or charcoal, gas is very cheap.
We have challenge in charcoal. You can buy a small package of charcoal that should last a day for $3 and that amount. If you are not careful, it will not be enough for all the day activities. You will have to buy more. I have used LPG for quite some time, so I understand how it works. It is something cheap and helps to simplify work.
As a sign that the clean cooking energy is beneficial, among food vendors in Dar es Salaam, Jerry, a young boy who sells charcoal, says the charcoal bags are very expensive, up to $30 per bag, thus making many people to opt to use LPG since it is cheap and can cook for a long time.
The charcoal business is very tough because we buy the bags from rural areas at high cost, up to $30. And bringing it here to be sold in retail to get profit is a big challenge, since many people use gas to reduce cost.
The consumption volume of LPG has tremendously increased since several LPG companies adopted the dissemination of the cylinder model, thus a green light for more users.
The goal that we have, which is very ambitious, is that as an LPG industry, not Oryx on its own, that's too big for us alone, but it is that within 10 years, every single dwelling that you see in Tanzania will be equipped with at least one gas cylinder. By saying this, I'm saying that there is also a support from the government in terms of energy policy, which is creating a conducive environment for the development of LPG.
A recent President of Tanzania, Samia Suluhu, co-chaired a clean cooking summit in Paris, where she underscored Tanzania's commitment on supporting clean cooking.
Central to Tanzania's own commitment is delivering on our recent launched 10-year clean cooking national strategy, which aims to ensure that 80% of Tanzanians use clean cooking solutions by the year 2034. A national fund will be established to support clean cooking.
Moreover, the government has given directives to all institutions with more than 300 people to ensure they use clean cooking energies by the end of 2025.
Are you seeking to boost your business in Africa and Europe? Increase your visibility with Business Frequency thanks to our network of national television channels in more than 40 countries. Every week, more than 100 broadcasts across Africa, the Indian Ocean and Europe. Don't miss this unique opportunity. Contact us now and put your brand into the spotlight. Welcome back to the second part of our show. South Africa has managed to convince S&P rating agency of its improved political stability. The rating agency has just raised its outlook from negative to stable, citing a more positive perception of private investment and economic growth. As a sign that the country is on a better track, its unemployment rate fell for the first time this year to 32.1% compared to 33.5% in the previous quarter. Job creation is being driven by the social sector and construction. The Moroccan company Marsa, a specialist in port management, is spreading its activities in West Africa. After Benin, where it manages terminals 1 and 5 of the port of Cotonou, Marsa, Maroc, has just concluded an agreement to modernize and expand port infrastructure in Liberia. The agreement will apply to the ports of Monrovia and Buchanan. The partnership also includes public-private partnership concession projects to develop a modern multi-purpose terminal and improve the operational efficiency and the service capacity of the main port of Monrovia. Gold prices have risen by 30% this year. This is whetting the appetite of African states, some of which are hit by sanctions and cut off from international financial aid. Mali, Niger, Burkina Faso, Côte d'Ivoire and Senegal are seeking new terms and announced changes in their mining legislation. Tensions are beginning to appear with foreign investors. Following a financial dispute, the Malian government detained the CEO of the Australian company Resolute, which owns a gold mine in the country. Togo in West Africa shares its borders with Ghana, Benin, Burkina Faso and the waters of the Gulf of Guinea. Lomé, the capital, is the country's largest city. As in many African countries, agriculture is the main livelihood, supporting 8 out of 10 of Togo's 8.5 million population. In our report, we look at this small country's amazing story as it meets the challenges of its agricultural development by focusing on one of its best assets, organic pineapple. Parfait Asogba, Fernand Tona and François Baudry in our report on a pineapple story in Togo.
Spanish and Portuguese navigators brought the first pineapples back from South America in the 1540s. It's an exotic fruit now widely consumed around the world, with an exploding demand. According to the FAO, world pineapple production should jump from 25 million tons in 2021 to 37 million by 2030. A booming market that one might think is reserved for global pineapple giants, such as Costa Rica or Nigeria, Africa's leading producer, with 1.6 million tons. It was to join this big league that Togo decided in 2018 to make a name for itself by focusing on its major asset, the organic pineapple niche. And the project is already a real success with small producers, with around 16,000 tons of organic pineapples collected each year.
Previously, we had great financial difficulties, but now I can help my husband. From the education of our children to the expenses of our household, without forgetting the costs of health and other expenses that I have managed to share with my husband. We managed to save some money, and we were able to buy a plot of land on which we have already started to build thanks to the production of pineapples.
The promotion of pineapple cultivation was first launched in Togo in the 1970s, but then experienced a decline 20 years later. In 2013, the sector was relaunched thanks to German financial assistance. In the maritime region of Sevier, 35 kilometers north of the capital Lomé, pineapple fields extend over hundreds of hectares. Mrs. Ayawa Dola has benefited from good agricultural practice training provided by the support project for the improvement of the competitiveness of the pineapple sector in Togo, also known as PROCAT. She is very proud of her organic pineapples.
Our pineapple is produced without chemical fertilizers. We do not use NPK. We plow the land, and it is with the dead grass and excrement as chemical fertilizers that we grow pineapples.
Initiated by the Togolese government with the technical and financial support of the European Union and German cooperation, the project is implemented by GIZ and aims to strengthen the entire pineapple sector, from production to export through processing for the 2018 to 2022 period. A budget of nearly 4 billion FCFA or 6 million euros, with ambitious objectives assigned to the project such as the production of 3,900 tons of organic pineapple juice, 260 tons of dried pineapple, and the export of 2,800 tons of fresh pineapples, as well as the creation of more than 4,700 jobs. It all started with the implementation of a vast additional training program, as at the Daniel Field School in the west of the country. As for producers, the effects are already visible.
It was through the project that everything changed. And now, with the training, the FBS training, management and accounting, training in good agricultural practices, in internal control systems, we're now equipped to be modern producers compared to the traditional producers that we were in the past.
Production then had to be organized so farmers had a guarantee for the sale of their organic pineapples and processors a guarantee of having the necessary raw materials.
We found that producers were having difficulties selling their products, while at the same time, right next door, there were processors looking for products, and who can't find any. We felt it was important to organize all these producers into an umbrella organization called FENACOPA, a central purchasing body that brings together all these producers so that when they produce their pineapples, they collect them and sell it to processors.
In Asahun, 50 kilometers from the capital, is one of the companies specialized in the export of organic pineapples. Here the fruits are sorted, cleaned, graded, weighed, and labeled before export. The sector is organized with 6 platforms that manage the purchasing centers. Their motto, stay united in the face of this tough market, where local competition is fierce.
Instead of letting the producers go in scattered rows, the Federation has taken it upon itself to do the organic certification of its producers. Thus, it is a real asset for them to go on the international market, especially since we have also done the training on traceability. From planting to consumption, we know step by step the circuit of the fruit.
Undoubtedly, Togo benefited from 2 major assets even before the launch of the project. 50% of its production was already organic, and the varieties grown in the country are highly appreciated by European consumers.
We're lucky in Togo to have varieties such as Sugarloaf and Cayenne, which are quite well known and which have a better taste than the MD2 varieties offered from Costa Rica.
Additionally, PROCAT contributed to strengthen the resilience of the sector in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic, and also to increase production in this context. The tonnage of pineapples processed in certified units has increased from 2,100 tons in 2018 to more than 6,700 in 2021, thanks to the training of producers and the provision of modern equipment and secure means of transporting pineapples to factories. But for professionals, the encouraging results do not lessen the challenges that remain.
The importance of the plant sectors, including the pineapple sector, is that we need to ensure food security and also develop production to cover national needs and also supply agro-industry to substitute imports with regard to internal consumption and also develop exports.
That's the price for Togo to win its bet and find a place in the expanding organic pineapple market, with major financial benefits for the state budget, the creation of new businesses and thousands of jobs for young people and women in the country.
Well, that's it for today. Business Africa is over. I'll see you next week, same time, same channel for Initiative Africa. We'll host the space system engineer, Ilyas Tenuti. In the meantime, you can watch this show on our website, africaonair.com, and follow us on our social media channels. Feel free to share, like, and comment using the hashtag Business Africa. Have a great week, and until next time, goodbye.